What do you think would happen to Charlie Kirk?
It's just messed up, totally messed up. You know that was messed up. Like, nobody deserved that. He definitely didn't deserve that. He was a good guy.
You think he was a good guy?
I think he was. All of us have flaws. I can't really tell you what to believe in or how to feel. Like, everybody's having a human experience. Like, why knock him for having this human experience or what he believe in?
Even though he says things that are anti-women, black, all that?
I can't judge him for that.
You can't?
I can't judge him for that. But I can use judgment. He didn't deserve that.
Right.
Yeah.
As a human being.
Yeah.
You are very spiritual.
You know, yeah. I can't go left. I can't go left with that.
So they're ramping up the PSYOP, which is Antifa. Now, Antifa, just like when you see the Patriot Front and they're all in khakis and they're all wearing the same clothes and they all have masks on, and we know that those are FBI plants, right? So the Antifa is the same thing. The idea is to keep us fighting each other so we don't realize that we're being manipulated by the oligarchs, come together and fight the oligarchs. So this is to keep the right and the left fighting each other. And so they invent stuff like Antifa, which is a complete invention of, and I'm going to show you how we know this in a second. So this is Max Blumenthal. Max Blumenthal, Chris Hedges tweets out, during my interview with Max Blumenthal from this Monday, he predicted that Trump would soon designate the amorphous Antifa as a terrorist organization, providing the administration the pretext to crack down on any protest or direct action oppositional to the White House. And then yesterday, Trump did that. So this is from September 18th, 2025. This is exactly what Max Blumenthal predicted.
And then finally, I think there will be a push to label Antifa as a terrorist organization, the same way that British intelligence have labeled Palestine Action, an anti-war group that has never harmed a single person, which was carrying out direct action against Israeli defense facilities, has been proscribed as a terrorist organization in the UK, which means that you are not allowed in the UK to declare your support on a t-shirt for Palestine Action without being jailed for supporting terrorism. And the difference there, though, is that Palestine Action is a real organization. It is sort of an amorphous organization, but it had a brand. Antifa is not. We don't even know what Antifa is. And Antifa is something that, as you wrote in a piece that I think really stands the test of time about Black Bloc, an aspect of Antifa back during Occupy Wall Street, is easily and constantly and comprehensively infiltrated by federal law enforcement. They're basically a chaos agent for federal law enforcement, but they're not a real organization. You can't determine who's a member of it. If Antifa is proscribed as a terrorist organization in the US, it pretty much allows anyone on the left who gets involved in direct action or protest activity to be labeled as a terrorist as well.
So I've said this forever, that they're just going to label you a terrorist and they can take your rights away and they can shut you down. So anybody now protesting against the Trump administration is going to be considered a terrorist. And here it is, just like he predicted. Boom. So that was on September 18th. Here's September 22nd. Trump issues PROMIS terrorist organization designation for Antifa. So they're feds. That's who he's calling terrorists, the feds that have infiltrated Antifa. That's exactly what he's doing. So, by the way, Total Amateur Hour, FBI official says Antifa is the #1 threat in the United States, but he can't say where they are, he can't say who they are, and he can't even say what Antifa actually is. So let's go ahead and listen.
Any domestic terrorist organization that poses a threat to the homeland as we speak.
I'd say the first one, President Trump had just announced executive order domestic terrorist organization, Antifa. That's our primary concern right now.
All right, that's what President Trump did. What does the FBI say?
We share the same view. When you look at the data right now, you look at the domestic terrorist threat that we're facing. Right now, what I see from my position is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
So where is Antifa headquartered?
Where are their headquarters?
What we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist? If it's a terrorist organization, and you've identified it as #1.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
So what does that mean?
What does that mean?
We trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States?
So this guy doesn't realize that the feds take an oath not to expose other undercover agents. So that's what he's doing. They're not going to expose the undercover feds and Antifa, where they are, what their names are. Antifa is totally manufactured by the feds. We have full and total surveillance control over this entire country. Yet you're unable to tell me where Antifa is based? Is that because they're based across the hall from you? Because that's what it sounds like. Let's listen to what he says.
As of right now.
Well, that's very fluid. It's
very
ongoing for us
fluid.
to understand that. The same, no different than Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the #1 domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
Ha! Zero.
So you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove. I know you wouldn't do that. But you did.
But you did.
Way to go, Mr. Thompson.
Oh, you did. You came here and made this unbelievable accusation that this group is the #1 terrorist group, but you don't know where they are. You can't name one person in the organization. Not one. We live in a complete, every email, every text, every phone call you make is being recorded by the U.S. security state, and you don't know one person inside Antifa? You don't know where they are? What? So do you get this now? This is the message of this show, is that they're there to make sure the left, just like with Black Lives Matter, just like with the WTO protests back in '99, they're there to make sure the left and the right keep fighting each other. Agent provocateurs, infiltrators, the feds. The feds are doing this to keep us fighting each other and our eye off the ball, just like they blame Charlie Kirk's assassination on a furry, on a guy in love with a trans person. It's a leftist, crazy leftist violence. And we all know this was another JFK hit on Charlie Kirk, another JFK, another RFK, same thing. A top FBI official struggled on Thursday to answer basic questions about Antifa, a loosely organized collective of anti-fascist activists that he labeled the top terrorist threat facing the United States. McIlhany, operations director of the FBI's National Security Branch, testified before the U.S. House Committee on Homeland Security that Antifa was the most immediate violent threat facing Americans today when it comes to domestic terrorism. Isn't that interesting? But when Representative Benny Thompson, the guy we just showed you, ranking member of the Homeland Security Committee, asked Golitsyn for specifics about his purportedly dire threat, he mostly came up empty. Many observers were stunned that Golitsyn appeared to know so little about what he proclaimed to be the top domestic terrorist threat facing the United States. Total amateur hour in U.S. law enforcement, remarked Democracy Docket news editor Matthew Kupfer, where the #1 terrorist threat is an organization that does not formally exist, and a career FBI official is dancing around before a congressional committee trying to make the Trump strategy sound legit. Zatio editor-in-chief Mehdi Hassan argued that Golitsyn's testimony was proof that the administration was simply concocting domestic terrorism threats with zero basis in reality. We've been telling you this for years, that's all. As soon as they said if someone's a terrorist, they don't get a trial, I thought they're going to just immediately call anybody they don't like a terrorist, and that's what they're doing. And so now Trump can shut down any protests saying that they're terrorists. Mehdi Hassan says, wow, just a complete admission here that the entire Antifa threat narrative is totally manufactured by this administration. That's what you just saw. That's what we just saw. A total admission. So Fred Wellman, a Democratic congressman candidate in Missouri, wondered how many actual dangerous criminals are running free while the FBI focuses on taking down an organization that it apparently knows nothing about. So, Glasheen, Antifa is our primary concern right now. That's the most immediate violent threat we're facing. Benny Thompson, where is Antifa headquartered? And Fred Wellman says, this would be comical if there wasn't real-world impact from this idiocy. We have real crimes and real threats, and they're chasing a fake organization for politics. Democrats on the House Homeland Security Commission also piled on Glasheen, citing his testimony as evidence that the Trump administration is completely unserious about law enforcement. If your top threat has no headquarters, no organization, and no definition, then it's not a top threat, they posted on social media. The Trump administration is ignoring real threats, and the American people see right through it. So there you go. Hey, maybe Antifa has finally arranged a work-from-home program. So just like, so there you go. So now everything's terrorist now, and we know it's a Fed infiltrated organization, if not completely concocted by the feds, just like the Patriot Front. You know, all those guys that nobody knows who they are. They all wear masks. They all come in a U-Haul van and leave so you can't track their cars. And they all look in shape too, because you know how. Anyway. So there you go. That's fantastic. The Trump administration doing more psyops on America so they can keep control of protesters. That's exactly it. So they can squash your free speech, so they can squash your right to protest, and they can just claim everybody against them as a terrorist. There you go. And that's just amazing. That is amazing. That piece of video is amazing. That those questions of that guy from the FBI. That is of Glasheen. That is unbelievable. Again, you don't think Donald Trump is propping up the left-right narrative and the phony, inauthentic, fake psyop, so to keep the left and the right fighting each other instead of waking up, coming together, and fighting the establishment? That's exactly what Donald Trump's doing. He's no different than the people he claims to be fighting. They want us all fighting each other. Okay, I think that's it for me for today. Thank you for tuning into this special early edition of the Jimmy Dore Show. Thanks for watching the Candace Owen interview. That was fantastic. I really need another hour with her. I really do. But she's great. She's doing great work. And all right, that's it. Thanks to I'm gonna go. Steph's got some more Rumble rants to read for you, and we will see you on Monday.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. Let's see. There we go. Big screen camera 4.
I don't want any trouble.
Thank you, Jimmy. Camera 4 is open. A big screen so you can make your exit if you need to. Jimmy, this was interesting. This one guy says, just in the chat, that was just one question, cherry picked from an entire hearing. Do better. Do some real research. Quit gobbling the left-wing propaganda. You can show me.
What was that? What was that?
That was just, okay. So Wesley says that was just one question, cherry picked from the entire hearing. Do better. Do some real research. Quit gobbling the left wing propaganda. So you can show Jimmy.
So that's how you're going to dismiss the head guy in charge of the Antifa thing, not knowing a damn thing about it. That's how you're going to try to dismiss that. Okay, good. Well, good for you. Good for you. You sound sharp as a tack, as they would say about Joe Biden. That's what you sound like. You sound demented. Okay. Back over to Steph.
Okay. Thank you. We all live on Jones Plantation. We do. Vientikiss Prime. Ladies and gentlemen, I read most of the rants and super chats that you shared with us today. If I missed it, it wasn't on purpose. It just happens sometimes. There's a lot coming in, a lot happening. Ladies and gentlemen, resist much, obey little. You know, listen to me. I'm a honeypot. See you Monday.